So, what do we got here? Ginkgo. Ginkgo biloba. Biloba because some of the leaves split into two lobes, right? Like this one here. And we could talk about ginkgo for an hour, which we won't do because we want to see some other stuff. So we'll just spend a little bit here. But one thing, as a reminder, I know you all know this or have learned it, but as a reminder, ginkgo, you want to make sure you understand what part of the plant we're talking about. In quote-unquote Western herbalism, for lack of a better word, when we say ginkgo, we're referring to the leaf. Now, when do you harvest it? When it's green, when it turns golden yellow in the fall? Herbalists differ. Seems to work fine both ways, to be honest, but herbalists differ in their preference for that. It's got a combination of phenols and terpenes that work synergistically together in terms of the medicine, which we can talk briefly about, but just to stick to the plant itself, the traditional part in Eastern Asian medicine that's been used for millennia is what's called the ginkgo nut, right? And now this tree is dioecious, meaning first of all, it's not technically a flowering plant, but we can kind of, in air quotes, talk about flowers. It certainly produces the equivalent of fruit, but this is kind of botanically in its own category. But the ginkgo nut, or the ginkgo seed, really, is the medicinal part that's been used for millennia in Eastern Asian medicine. And that is used mostly for supporting the lung qi to fully descend, to dilate the bronchi, to take full breaths when there's wheezing, constriction of the airways, asthmatic-like states. That's what the nut is mostly used for, although the leaf is also helpful for that. And that often gets overlooked with ginkgo leaf. We tend to focus on the vascular circulatory benefits, which are huge, but it is also helpful for as a pulmonary remedy for asthmatic-like states. And again, in Chinese medicine, that would be referred to as the lung qi not fully descending. Often because if we're thinking holistically, we always want to peel back layers, right? What's behind that, right? Rather than treating just what we're seeing or addressing just what we're seeing. So this would often be a need to assist kidney qi and kidney yang in supporting the lung qi to fully descend. And so Schisandra is used that way. But ginkgo can be very helpful. Of course, we have other remedies, right? But we're not getting into all of that today. But of course, highly prized as a vascular remedy. Toning, helping to promote circulation, particularly peripheral circulation, without being pungent and hot and spicy. So that's nice energetically. If you want to move blood and increase circulation, particularly to the periphery, hands and feet, cold hands and feet, Raynaud's, things like that, but also up here, right? That's peripheral circulation. So where ginkgo is going to help most with cognitive health is when there is poor circulation and suboptimal oxygenation, right? Which go together. How do we get oxygen around the body? It's the blood's moving it around, right? So not all forms of dementia or cognitive challenge is going to be benefited by ginkgo. Again, we always ask why, right? We don't use what herbs for dementia. It's like, no, what's happening with you? What's happening in your body? What remedies do you need?